The first man who touched Damian Russo that night left the room with a broken wrist. The second man never made it through the door. By the time Olivia Hayes entered the private trauma suite, 6 armed bodyguards were standing against the walls. 3 doctors were watching from behind reinforced glass. And the most feared man in Boston was sitting barefoot on the floor with blood running through his white shirt. Damian Russo had been shot less than an hour earlier. He had also nearly killed the orderly who tried to help him onto the hospital bed. Nobody moved now. The monitors continued to sound their warnings. Blood spread slowly beneath Damian as he leaned against the side of the bed. One hand covered the wound near his ribs. The other remained clenched around a surgical instrument he had taken from a tray. His dark eyes studied every person in the room. The message inside them was unmistakable. Come closer and die. Olivia stopped near the doorway. She was still wearing the dark blue scrubs from her emergency shift. Her brown hair had escaped its knot, and a faint smear of blood marked one sleeve. She was a soft, curvy woman in a room filled with hard men, but nothing in her posture suggested weakness. Dr. Marcus Vale stood behind her. He was the director of St. Catherine Medical Center, a polished man with silver hair and a reputation built upon discretion. He lowered his voice. He will not let anyone examine him. His blood pressure is falling. You have experience with violent trauma patients. Olivia glanced at the broken equipment scattered across the floor. I have experience with frightened patients. One bodyguard turned sharply toward her. Damian did not. His eyes remained fixed on the doorway, cold and unblinking. Vale touched the back of Olivia's arm and tried to guide her forward. Damian moved instantly. The surgical instrument left his hand and struck the wall beside Vale's head with enough force to remain embedded there. Every weapon in the room came up. Olivia did not flinch. She stepped away from Vale's hand and looked directly at Damian. Nobody touches me without permission either. Something changed in his face. It was not trust. It was recognition. Olivia slowly removed the gloves from her pocket and placed them on a nearby table. My name is Olivia Hayes. I am an emergency nurse. I need to examine the wound, but I will not touch you unless you tell me that I can. Damian stared at her. Blood continued to drip from his shirt. You are wasting time, Vale said. Olivia kept her eyes on Damian, then stopped speaking. The room became silent. Nobody spoke to the director that way. Damian slowly lifted his chin. Everyone out. His voice was quiet. Yet every guard immediately obeyed. Vale remained near the door. Damian looked at him. Did she misunderstand me? Vale left. The reinforced door closed behind Olivia. She stood alone with a bleeding mafia boss who had spent most of his adult life teaching men to fear the sound of his name. Damian glanced toward the pistol, resting on a chair near the bed. Olivia followed his gaze. You can keep it. He looked back at her. Most people ask me to move weapons away from patients. Most patients do not have 6 armed men outside the door. 7. Where is the 7th? On the roof across the street, Olivia looked toward the window. That seems excessive. Someone tried to kill me tonight? Then perhaps it is exactly enough. The corner of his mouth almost moved. The expression disappeared before it became a smile. Olivia slowly approached, stopping several feet away. I need to see where the bullet entered. Damian loosened his grip over the wound. His fingers were covered in blood. The bullet passed through. He said, You are fortunate. I do not believe in fortune. Then believe in body armor and poor aim. His eyes narrowed. She waited. After a long silence, Damian nodded once. You may examine it. Olivia moved carefully. Every action was announced before she performed it. She reached toward his shirt, paused, and waited until he gave permission. She cut the fabric away without allowing her fingers to brush against his skin. The wound was serious, but survivable. His muscles remained rigid beneath her hands, as she worked around him without touching more than necessary. "Who told you to do that?" he asked. "Do what?" "Explain every movement." "Trauma training." He watched her face. "You are not afraid of me." Olivia cleaned the blood near the wound. "I am aware that you are dangerous." "That was not my question." "Fear is information. It tells me when something can hurt me. It does not get to make every decision." For the first time since she entered, Damian looked away. Olivia prepared a local anesthetic. "This will hurt. Pain is not the problem." What is his gaze returned to hers? "People." The answer should have sounded arrogant. Instead, it sounded unbearably honest. Olivia administered the medication, then closed the wound with careful stitches. Damian did not move, even when his breathing became shallow. Once, her hand slipped close to an old scar along his back. His entire body locked. Olivia immediately moved away. "I am sorry." Damian stared at the wall. "You stopped. You did not give permission." Most people keep going when they believe they are helping. Then most people confuse help with control. The words entered the silence between them. Olivia finished securing the bandage. "You need rest. The bullet did not strike an organ, but you lost a dangerous amount of blood. I do not sleep in hospitals. Tonight you do." He looked at her with the expression of a man who had ordered executions for lesser acts of disrespect. Olivia began gathering the bloodied material. "Your choice is to sleep willingly or lose consciousness from exhaustion. The bed is more comfortable than the floor." Damian looked at the bed. Then he looked at her. "Stay until I fall asleep." It was not a request. Olivia straightened. "I am working. You are working here. I have other patients. Vale will assign them to someone else. That is not your decision. Everything inside this building is currently my decision." Olivia folded her arms. "That might frighten everyone else. It does not change my answer." A long moment passed. Then Damian slowly pushed himself upright. Pain cut across his face. But he refused her help. He reached the bed and sat on the edge. 30 minutes, he said. Olivia considered him. 1 hour. He looked surprised. "You are negotiating upward. You are pale, bleeding, and stubborn." 1 hour. Damian lay down. Olivia moved the chair several feet from the bed. His gaze followed her. "Closer. I can monitor you from here." "Closer." Olivia. She pulled the chair beside the bed, leaving enough space that their bodies could not touch. Damian closed his eyes. For several minutes, the only sound came from the heart monitor. Olivia watched his face. Even unconscious, he did not look peaceful. His brow remained tense. His fingers curled against the sheet as if he were expecting someone to pull him from the bed. She wondered what kind of life taught a man to sleep like that. 40 minutes later, the monitor changed. Damian breathing became uneven. His head moved against the pillow. At first, Olivia believed he was waking. Then he whispered a single word. "Dark." His hand searched blindly across the sheet. The heart monitor sounded faster. Damian opened his eyes, but he did not see the hospital room. He saw something else. Something years away. Something beneath the surface. Olivia stood. "Damian, you are safe." He shot upright. His hand caught her wrist. The grip was strong enough to crush bone. Outside the room, the guards reached for the door. Olivia lifted her free hand. "Do not come in." Damian dragged her closer. His eyes were wild. His breathing sharp and broken. "Do not close it," he said. "Nobody is closing anything. Do not leave me down there." Olivia felt her fear rise. She listened to it. Then she made her choice. She sat on the edge of the bed. "Damian, look at me." He did not respond. She carefully placed her free hand over his. His grip tightened. Olivia ignored the pain. You are in St. Catherine Hospital. You were injured in an ambush. There are 7 guards around the building. Nobody can lock you anywhere. His eyes moved toward her face. You are not underground. The sound that left him was almost a breath and almost a broken cry. Olivia moved closer. I am going to put my arm around you. Is that all right? His lips parted. No answer came. Olivia waited. Damian finally nodded. She wrapped one arm around his shoulders. For one terrible second, his body became completely rigid. Then something inside him collapsed. The feared Mafia boss lowered his forehead against her shoulder. Olivia held him. She felt the violent rhythm of his heart through his chest. His breath warmed the side of her neck. His hand remained around her wrist. But the pressure slowly weakened. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Olivia did not know when his breathing became calm. She only knew that when morning light entered through the windows, Damian was asleep with his head against her chest and one hand holding the fabric of her scrub shirt. 6 bodyguards stood beyond the glass. None of them dared to enter. Dr. Vale arrived shortly after sunrise. He stopped when he saw them. His surprise lasted only a moment. Then something colder entered his eyes. Olivia did not notice it. Damian woke when the door opened. His hand tightened against her side. Vale took one step into the room. Damian lifted his head. Get out. Vale stopped. You need another examination. She will do it. Nurse Hayes has completed a full emergency shift. Then she will be compensated. Olivia pulled her arm away and stood. I am not staying because you can pay me. Damian watched her. Why are you staying? She glanced at his pale face. Because you still need medical care. Vale smiled without warmth. The hospital can provide someone with more specialized training. Damian's eyes became empty. No one else touches me. Vale looked at Olivia. She saw calculation behind his professional expression. She did not yet understand what it meant. By noon, the entire private floor knew that Damian Russo had allowed a nurse to hold him through the night. By evening, the information had already been sold. Across the city, inside a private club beneath the old financial district, Victor Marcelli read the message twice. Damian Russo permits physical contact from one nurse. The name beneath the message was Olivia Hayes. Victor leaned back in his chair. He had spent 7 years searching for a weakness in Damian. At last, someone had placed one directly into his hands. Damian remained in the hospital for 3 days. He refused every nurse except Olivia. He tolerated doctors only when she stood nearby. The arrangement made her furious. It also frightened her more than she admitted. Damian did not ask for comfort. He watched her. He studied the way she checked medication labels twice. He noticed that she drank coffee only after it became cold. He learned that she hummed quietly when she changed bandages and that she touched frightened patients with both hands so they would never mistake her care for impatience. Olivia tried to treat him like anyone else. That became increasingly difficult when black cars filled the hospital parking garage and powerful men entered his room at every hour. Damian conducted business while attached to an intravenous line. He discussed shipments, politicians, and men who had failed him. He never raised his voice. He did not need to. One afternoon, a lieutenant named Carlo entered the room with blood on his collar. The shooter has been identified, Carlo said. Alive? Damian asked. For the moment. Olivia continued recording his temperature. Damian watched her. Take him to the harbor. Olivia stopped writing. Damian noticed. Is there a problem? You are discussing murder while I am checking your fever. Carlo looked horrified. Damian remained calm. I am discussing consequences. Call them whatever helps you sleep. The room became dangerously still. Carlo lowered his eyes, expecting Damian anger. Instead, Damian studied Olivia. Do you believe he deserves mercy? I do not know what he did. He helped men attack a car containing my younger cousin. Was your cousin hurt? No, because I took the bullet. Olivia looked at the bandage beneath his shirt. Then punishment should prevent another attack. It should not satisfy your anger. Carlo stared at her as if she had stepped in front of a moving train. Damian turned toward the window. Keep him alive, he said. Carlo blinked. For how long? Until I decide whether Nurse Hayes approves of my moral development. Olivia frowned. Do not use me as an excuse. Damian looked back at her. Then give me a better one. Because becoming the worst thing that happened to you will not erase it. The humor vanished from his face. Olivia saw the change and immediately regretted the words. She had touched something hidden. Not his skin. Something deeper. Damian dismissed Carlo. After the door closed, he spoke without looking at her. You believe violence happened to me. You react to touch before you know who is touching you. That is not arrogance. That is memory. His eyes moved toward hers. What else do you believe? I believe you hate being studied. Yet, you continue. I am trying to keep you alive. Perhaps that is why I permit it. She changed his bandage that afternoon. For the first time, Damian gave permission before she asked. You may touch my shoulder. Olivia placed her hand there. His body tensed beneath her palm. He did not pull away. When she finished, he looked almost disappointed. The following morning, Damian was cleared to leave the hospital. He informed Olivia that she would be moving into the guest wing of his estate. She laughed because she believed it was a joke. Nobody else in the room did. Absolutely not, she said. Damian stood near the window in a black shirt, the bandage hidden beneath the fabric. I require continued treatment. You require a private nurse. I require you. The words struck the room with more force than a shout. Olivia looked toward Vale. The hospital director adjusted his glasses. Mr. Russo has offered the medical center a significant donation in exchange for temporary private care. Olivia's face became hot. You sold my schedule. Vale's smile remained smooth. This is a professional assignment. It is kidnapping with excellent paperwork. Damian moved closer. You are free to refuse. The room went silent. Olivia studied him. Will your men follow me if I refuse? No. Will you interfere with my job? No. Will anyone threaten my family? I do not threaten innocent people. She held his gaze. That was not an answer. Damian's jaw tightened. Your family will remain untouched. Olivia nodded. Then I refuse. She walked toward the door. Damian did not stop her. That surprised everyone, including Olivia. She returned to her apartment after sunset. 2 black vehicles were parked across the street. Olivia stood on the sidewalk and stared at them. One window lowered. A guard she recognized from the hospital looked uncomfortable. Miss Hayes, leave. We were instructed to make certain you arrive safely. I have arrived. We are also assigned to remain. Olivia pulled out her phone and called Damian. He answered immediately. Are those your men outside my home? Yes. Remove them. No. You promised not to follow me. I promised not to follow you. I am in another part of the city. That is not clever. You were identified inside a protected medical floor. Anyone connected to the ambush may assume you heard confidential information. You are using danger to control me. I am preventing danger from reaching you. Olivia looked up at her apartment windows. Remove them. Damian. Silence filled the line. His voice became quieter. You do not understand what can happen. Then explain it. Do not make decisions about my life without me. They remain until morning. Olivia ended the call. 5 minutes later, she walked across the street and knocked on the vehicle window. Tell Mr. Russo that I will sleep in the hospital break room until he removes you. The guards exchanged nervous looks. Miss Hayes. Drive away. The first vehicle moved within 3 minutes. The second followed. Olivia returned to her apartment. Across the city, Damian stood in his penthouse office, staring at the silent phone in his hand. Carlo waited near the desk. Should I send another team without identification? Damian looked at him. No. Carlo appeared confused. She told me to remove them. Since when do you obey anyone? Damian turned toward the dark windows. Since disobeying her became worse than losing control. 2 days passed. Olivia returned to her normal shifts. Damian did not contact her. She told herself she was relieved. On the third night, she left the hospital and found him waiting near the employee entrance. He stood alone beside a black car. No guards were visible. Olivia stopped several feet away. Are you following me personally? Now I came to apologize. She stared at him. Damian Russo did not look like a man familiar with apologies. His black coat was buttoned against the cold Boston wind. The wound had removed some color from his face, but his posture remained controlled. I violated the agreement, he said. Yes. I believed the risk justified it. It did not. I know that now. Olivia waited. Damian held out a folded document. What is that? A private medical contract? You control the schedule. You select the location. You may leave at any time. No guards will be assigned without your permission. And if I refuse, I will find another nurse. He said the words calmly, but something wounded passed through his eyes. Olivia opened the document. The payment was enough to erase her student debt. She closed it again. This is too much. It is what your time is worth to me. That is exactly what worries me. Damian stepped closer, then stopped before entering her space. I cannot sleep. Olivia said nothing. For 3 nights. I have awakened believing I am underground. His voice did not change. Yet the confession seemed to cost him more than blood. You held me. He continued. It stopped. I am not medication. I know. You cannot build your entire stability around one person. I know that too. Then what are you asking? Teach me how not to need you. Olivia looked at the man everyone feared. For the first time, she saw fear inside him. Not fear that she would hurt him, fear that she would leave before he learned how to survive without her. She accepted the contract. Her first condition was that treatment take place in the medical wing of his estate, not in his bedroom. Her second condition was that every door remain unlocked. Her third condition was that Damian ask before entering any room assigned to her. Her fourth condition was that he could not punish anyone merely for speaking to her. Damian read the list. That last condition is vague. It is intentionally broad. What if someone insults you? I can answer for myself. What if someone threatens you? Then you may prevent the threat. What if someone touches you? Olivia looked up. You may ask whether I need help. Damian's expression darkened. That seems inefficient. It is the condition. He signed. The Russo estate stood beyond iron gates near the coast. It was less a home than a private fortress made of stone and glass. The ocean stretched behind it, gray beneath the winter sky. Guards patrolled the grounds, and cameras watched every entrance. Olivia arrived with one suitcase. Damian waited at the front doors. He reached for the suitcase, then stopped. May I? The question startled her. She handed it to him. You have people for that. I am aware. He carried it himself. The first week was difficult. Damian could tolerate Olivia's hands while awake, but any unexpected sound or movement sent tension through him. She began with controlled exercises. She would stand across the room and tell him before approaching. Then she would sit beside him without touching. Later, she would ask permission to place one hand on his forearm. Every time, Damian had to choose. Yes or no. Olivia believed the choice mattered more than the contact. One evening, she placed 2 fingers against his wrist to check his pulse. His eyes remained fixed on her face. What do you feel? She asked. Your hand. What else? The impulse to leave. Are you going to? No. Why? Because you will stop when I ask. She released him immediately. Damian looked at the space where her fingers had been. I did not ask. You answered the important question. His gaze lifted to hers. You always leave before I want you to. That is why this works. At night, Damian still woke from nightmares. Olivia refused to sleep in his room. Instead, she placed a chair outside the open door. The first night, he woke at 2 in the morning. He found her reading beneath a small lamp. You stayed. I said I would. He watched her for a long moment. Come inside. Ask correctly. His mouth tightened. Will you come inside? Olivia entered. She sat in the chair beside the bed. Damian did not ask her to touch him. He only watched her until sleep returned. The next morning, he placed a cup of hot coffee beside her breakfast. She lifted it suspiciously. How did you know what I drink? You take coffee with milk and no sugar. You have been watching me. I watch everything in my house. That is not romantic. I did not say it was. Olivia took a sip. It was perfect. Damian looked satisfied. Their intimacy grew through small permissions. May I sit here? May I touch your hand? May I move closer? Each question weakened something dark inside Damian. Each answer built something neither of them wanted to name. He remained cold with everyone else. Men entered his office trembling and left grateful to be alive. Olivia once watched him order the destruction of a rival warehouse while calmly eating dinner. You cannot burn half the harbor, she said. Only one building. There are workers nearby. Not tonight. How do you know I own the company that employs them? Olivia set down her fork. Of course you do. Damian almost smiled. She began seeing pieces of his world. Luxury concealed the violence, but it did not erase it. Men disappeared. Money moved through businesses that existed only on paper. Politicians arrived after midnight and left through hidden doors. Damian protected entire neighborhoods through fear, but he also controlled them through the same weapon. Olivia refused to pretend he was innocent. Damian never asked her to. That honesty became dangerous. One rainy afternoon, Olivia found a man waiting inside the medical wing. He was young, handsome, and wearing a physician badge. Dr. Elias Grant stood when she entered. You must be Olivia. She shook his hand. Damian appeared in the doorway at that moment. His eyes dropped to their joined hands. Olivia released Elias. Dr. Grant is a trauma specialist. Damian said, you hired a specialist. You told me I cannot become dependent upon one person. Olivia studied him. That was responsible. Damian looked almost offended by the praise. Elias began working with him twice each week. Damian disliked him immediately. Elias was calm, observant, and completely unafraid. He also made Olivia laugh during their first session. Damian remained silent for the rest of the afternoon. After Elias left, Olivia found him standing near the windows. You were rude. He asked unnecessary questions. He is a trauma doctor. He asked whether you are involved with anyone. Olivia smiled. That question was not about you. Exactly. She folded her arms. You are jealous. Damian turned. Jealousy is insecurity. Yes. I am not insecure. Then, you should not mind if I have dinner with him. Damian's eyes became dangerously still. Are you having dinner with him? He invited me. What did you say? Olivia stepped closer. I said that I would consider it. Damian's jaw tightened. He looked toward the ocean. Under their agreement, I cannot punish him merely for speaking to you. Correct. I regret signing it. That sounds like a personal problem. He faced her again. Do you want him? The question carried no arrogance. Only restrained fear. Olivia's voice softened. I barely know him. You barely knew me when you held me. You were having a trauma episode. Perhaps I am having one now. She almost smiled. But the pain in his expression stopped her. Damian, you cannot claim every person who makes you feel safe. I do not feel safe with anyone else. That is not love. What is it? Dependency? Fear? Gratitude? Obsession? Perhaps all of them together. He moved one step closer. And if love is beneath them, then you will have to prove that you can respect my freedom, even when it hurts you. Damian looked at her for a long time. Have dinner with him. Olivia blinked. What? If you want to go, then go. He said the words as if they were cutting through his throat. Olivia saw the struggle behind them. She had received flowers, jewelry, and promises from men before. None of them felt as intimate as Damian standing before her and refusing to turn his fear into a cage. She did not have dinner with Elias. She also did not tell Damian that she had decided against it because of him. The attack came 2 nights later. Olivia and Damian were walking through the glass corridor, connecting the medical wing to the main house. A light flashed beyond the trees. Damian moved before the gunshot reached them. He pushed Olivia to the floor and covered her body with his. Glass exploded above them. His guards returned fire. Damian held Olivia beneath him as bullets struck the stone walls. She felt his heart pounding against her back. Not from fear of being touched, from fear of losing her. When the gunfire stopped, he did not move. Damian, she whispered. Are you hurt? No. He lifted his head and looked at her. Blood marked his cheek from broken glass. Olivia reached toward him. Damian flinched. She stopped. May I? His eyes closed. Yes. She touched his face. The world around them was filled with broken windows and shouting men. But Damian became still beneath her hand. Carlo ran toward them. The shooter escaped toward the coast. Damian rose and pulled Olivia behind him. Locked down the estate. Carlo nodded. Damian looked at Olivia. You are leaving tonight. Her chest tightened. You think I caused this? His expression changed. No. Then why am I leaving? Because they came for you. The answer silenced her. Damian turned toward Carlo. Prepare the armored vehicle. Olivia caught his sleeve. You cannot send me away every time danger gets close. His body became rigid beneath her fingers. She released him. I am sorry. I forgot to ask. Damian looked at the place where she had touched him. Then he looked into her eyes. Do it again. Olivia carefully held his sleeve. I am not leaving. You do not understand the risk. I understand that someone shot through a window. I understand that you covered me with your body. I also understand that isolation will not heal either of us. His eyes darkened. I cannot think when you are in danger. Then learn. I have buried men for less than what happened tonight. I am not asking you to forgive them. What are you asking? Do not turn protecting me into owning me. The guards moved around them through the shattered corridor. Damian stared at her. Stay in the medical wing tonight. That is reasonable. With 2 guards outside, 1 guard, 2. Olivia considered him. They remain outside, and the door stays unlocked. Agreed. It was the first compromise they made while blood still marked the floor. It would not be the last. The Russo family arrived the following week. Celeste Russo entered the estate wearing black silk and old diamonds. She was the younger sister of the late Vittorio Russo, the father of Damian. She had helped raise Damian after the death of his mother. She also looked at Olivia as if she were dirt on an expensive carpet. Damian, younger cousin. Sophia followed her inside. Several uncles and advisors arrived behind them. The family had learned about the attack. They had also learned that Damian refused to send Olivia away. Dinner was held in the formal dining room. Olivia had not planned to attend. Damian appeared outside her room before sunset. He knocked. She opened the door. You do not need to knock when the door is already open. You said I cannot enter without permission. That rule still applies. Then may I come in? Olivia stepped aside. Damian wore a black suit without a tie. His hair was still damp from the shower. The cut near his cheek had begun to heal. My family requested your presence at dinner. Requested? Demanded. I appreciate the translation. You may refuse. Olivia studied his face. Do you want me there? Yes. Why? Because they believe you are temporary. Am I not? The question changed the air. Damian took one step toward her. Olivia, I do not know what this is yet. That is honest. I know what I want it to become. What his gaze moved to her lips, then returned to her eyes. Something you choose. Olivia breath caught. Damian stepped back before the moment could become anything else. Dinner is in 20 minutes. The family waited beneath crystal chandeliers. Celeste spoke first. So this is the nurse. Olivia took the chair beside Damian. My name is Olivia Hayes. Celeste ignored the correction. You have become extremely important in a very short time. Damian lifted his glass. Choose your next words carefully. Olivia glanced at him. I can answer for myself. His hand tightened around the glass. Celeste smiled. Damian has always been vulnerable to people who appear gentle. His mother had the same weakness. Sophia looked uncomfortable. A man near the end of the table spoke. How much is the hospital paying you to remain here? Damian set down his glass. Olivia touched his wrist. He froze. Every face at the table turned toward her hand. Olivia removed it. You promised. She reminded him. His voice became cold. He insulted you, and I am still capable of speech. She looked at the man. The hospital is not paying me. Damian is. The agreement is professional, temporary, and controlled by me. Celeste laughed softly. You believe you control Damian Russo? No. I control myself. That is already more than most people at this table can say. Silence followed. Celeste's eyes sharpened. You know nothing about this family. I know everyone here is more interested in protecting a reputation than helping a man who cannot sleep. Damian looked at her. Celeste's face lost color. Be careful. Nurse Hayes. Olivia leaned back. Why are you going to tell me the truth? Damian spoke quietly. What truth? Celeste turned toward him. She is manipulating you. Olivia saw something in the older woman's expression. Fear. Not jealousy. Fear of discovery. What happened underground? Olivia asked. Damian's hand closed around the edge of the table. Sophia inhaled sharply. Celeste stood. That is enough. Damian looked at her. Sit down. She did not. His voice became softer. Sit down. Aunt Celesta. She returned to her chair. Damian's gaze moved around the table. What happened underground? Nobody answered. Olivia felt the tension inside him. His breathing changed. She did not touch him. She waited for permission. Damian stood. He removed his jacket. Then he unbuttoned his black shirt. The family watched in silence as he pulled the fabric away from his back. Scars crossed his skin. Some were thin and pale. Others were deep. Uneven lines that had never healed correctly. Olivia had seen part of them during treatment, but never all. Damian turned toward the table. These happened underground. Celeste's face became white. Damian looked at Olivia. Touch them. She stared at him. You do not have to prove anything. I am not proving it to them. His voice almost broke. I am proving that they no longer own the truth. Olivia stood. She moved behind him. May I touch your back? Yes. Her fingertips rested against the oldest scar. Damian closed his eyes. His family watched as the man who had once broken a doctor, hand for touching his shoulder, allowed Olivia to trace the evidence of his childhood. My father locked me beneath the old house, Damian said. He called it discipline. He left me without light until I stopped crying. When I fought the door, He punished me. Sophia covered her mouth. An uncle looked down at the table. Celeste whispered his name. Damian turned toward her. You knew. I tried to protect you. You protected him. He was the head of this family. I was a child. The words struck harder than anger. Olivia kept her hand against his back. Damian remained upright because she was there. Celeste began to cry. Damian did not comfort her. He looked around the table. Anyone who calls Olivia an opportunist again will leave this family before she leaves this house. Olivia, hand moved from his back. Damian turned toward her. She saw the question in his eyes. Not approval, not gratitude. Had he gone too far, Olivia took his hand. This time, she did not ask. This time, he did not flinch. The dinner ended without dessert. Later that night, Damian stood alone in the underground garage. Olivia found him near the armored vehicles. He had put his shirt back on, but the buttons remained open near his throat. You should be resting, she said. So should you. I am not the one who revealed a family secret in front of 12 people. Damian stared into the darkness beyond the garage doors. I remembered more tonight. Olivia waited. He came down with a lantern. Sometimes he brought men with him so they could watch. He said fear was useful only when it had witnesses. Olivia felt sick. How old were you? 7 the first time. Her eyes burned. Damian looked at her. Do not look at me like that. Like what? Like I survived something? You did. I became something. That is not the same. No. He stepped closer. What do you see when you look at me? Olivia struggled to answer honestly. A dangerous man. His expression did not change. A wounded man. He looked away. A man trying to become different from the person who hurt him. Damian's gaze returned to hers. And what do you feel? Fear. His jaw tightened. Trust. He became still. Both can exist. Olivia moved closer. I am going to touch your face. Damian nodded. She placed her palm against his cheek. His eyes closed. He leaned into her hand. The gesture was so quiet that it nearly broke her heart. When he opened his eyes, they were no longer cold. May I kiss you? He asked. Olivia stopped breathing. The question carried more power than any command he had ever given. Yes. Damian lowered his mouth to hers. The kiss was restrained at first. Careful. Almost uncertain. Then Olivia's fingers moved into his hair. Something inside him broke open. He kissed her as if he had spent 12 years starving without knowing the name of his hunger. His hands remained at his sides, even while desire shook through him. He did not touch her without permission. Olivia took one of his hands and placed it against her waist. Damian inhaled sharply. His palm settled against her curves. He kissed her again. The garage lights reflected across the black vehicles around them. Beyond the iron doors, rain began falling over the estate. Inside, the feared mafia boss held one woman as if she were the first safe place he had ever known. The betrayal arrived the next morning. Dr. Vale came to the estate carrying a sealed folder. Carlos searched him before allowing him inside. Olivia and Damian met him in the office. Vale placed the folder on the desk. Private medical records connected to Mr. Russo were sent to 3 news organizations last night. Damian's face became empty. Olivia stared at the folder. What records? Trauma assessments, medication details, notes regarding his response to physical contact. A cold sensation moved through her. Who had access? Vale hesitated. Myself, Dr. Grant, and Nurse Hayes. Damian looked at Olivia. The silence between them changed. She felt it immediately. Not accusation. Instinct. The old instinct that told him everyone would eventually become a threat. Vale opened the folder. The records were accessed through the hospital system using Nurse Hayes' credentials. That is impossible. Olivia said, The evidence is clear. Damian did not speak. Olivia looked at him. Say something. Carlo entered behind veil. We found a financial transfer into an account connected to Miss Hayes. Olivia turned. What account? A savings account under your name. I did not open it. The amount was $200,000. Damian's eyes remained on her face. Olivia felt something inside her collapse. You believe them. I am examining the evidence. No. You are deciding whether your fear matters more than what you know about me. Vale stepped closer. Perhaps Nurse Hayes should return to the hospital until this is resolved. Damian looked at him. You will not take her anywhere. Hope entered Olivia. Then Damian continued. She remains inside the estate. The hope disappeared. Am I a prisoner? His expression tightened. You are protected. Do not use that word. Olivia moved toward the door. Carlo blocked her path. She turned toward Damian. Move him. Damian said nothing. Olivia's eyes burned. All those questions, all those promises, they only mattered while trusting me was easy. I am trying to keep you alive. You are trying to control what frightens you. Damian stepped closer. Someone used your credentials. And someone used your childhood. Does that make every person in this room your father? Pain struck his face. Olivia immediately regretted it. But she did not withdraw the truth. Damian looked at Carlo. Take Dr. Vale to the west sitting room. Vale protested. Damian's gaze silenced him. Carlo escorted the director away. Olivia remained near the door. Damian opened a drawer beside the bed in the office. He removed a pistol. Every guard in the room became alert. Damian placed the weapon in Olivia's hand. The metal felt cold and heavy. What are you doing? She asked. He stepped away from her. Then he turned his back. Carlo stopped near the doorway. Damian. Do not. Damian ignored him. He faced the windows, leaving Olivia behind him with the weapon. If she betrayed me, he said, then this is her best opportunity. Olivia stared at his back. His scars were hidden beneath the black shirt, but she could see every one of them in her memory. Damian slowly spread his empty hands. I am unarmed. The guards watched Olivia. One movement would end her life. Damian did not turn. He trusted her enough to make himself vulnerable before everyone. Olivia walked forward. She pressed the pistol against the center of his back. Several guards raised their weapons. Damian remained still. Her voice shook. This is not trust. He closed his eyes. What is it? A performance. She removed the pistol and placed it on the desk. Trust is opening the door even when you are afraid I might leave. Damian turned. Tears stood in Olivia's eyes. Trust is knowing I could hurt you and choosing not to imprison me before I do. She walked toward the exit. Carlo looked at Damian. Damian's breathing became uneven. Every instinct inside him demanded that he stop her. Lock the doors. Surround the estate. Take away the choice before she disappeared. Olivia reached the doorway. Damian spoke. Let her pass. Carlo moved aside. Olivia stopped. Damian stood across the room. Pale and rigid. You may leave, he said. She saw how much it cost him. She also saw that he was finally giving her the proof she had requested. Olivia walked away. She returned to her apartment that afternoon. No vehicle followed her. No guard waited outside. Damian called once. She did not answer. He sent no messages after that. For 3 days. Olivia remained away from the hospital while an internal investigation examined her credentials. The media never published the stolen records. Each organization received a warning from the Russo family before releasing them. However, Victor Marcelli already had what he needed. He knew Damian nightmares were linked to underground spaces. He knew touch could trigger violent confusion. Most importantly, he knew Olivia was no longer protected by the Russo estate. On the 4th evening, Dr. Vale called her. We found evidence that someone copied your access card, he said. Olivia sat upright. Who? I cannot discuss it by phone. Come to the hospital. Use the private entrance. She hesitated. Why not tell the police? The police cannot be involved in anything connected to Damian Russo. Olivia looked toward her dark apartment window. I will be there in 30 minutes. The private entrance beneath St. Catherine Medical Center was empty when she arrived. Vale waited near the elevator. He wore no coat despite the cold. Where is the evidence? Olivia asked. Upstairs. The elevator doors opened. Two men stood inside. Olivia stepped backward. Vale caught her arm. She drove her elbow into his chest. One man grabbed her from behind. The last thing she saw before darkness covered her was the hospital director adjusting his collar. Damian learned she was missing 12 minutes later. He had never removed the emergency alert installed in the original medical contract. Olivia knew about the device and had agreed to it because it activated only if her phone was destroyed or disabled. The signal ended beneath the hospital. Damian stood in the office while Carlo traced the final location. Dr. Vale has disappeared, Carlo said. Damian looked at the map. Where is Victor? His main properties are empty. Find every vehicle that left the hospital garage in the last hour. Carlo studied him. We will find her. Damian turned toward the windows. If she dies because I let her leave, she left because you gave her a choice. I should have protected her. You would have become the man she feared. Damian looked at him. And what am I now? Carlo lowered his voice. A man who has to trust that she was right. A traffic camera found the vehicle heading north, toward the abandoned Russo estate. The house where Damian had spent his childhood stood empty beyond the city. Nobody had lived there since the death of Vittorio Russo. Damian had ordered the building sealed. He had never ordered it destroyed. He understood why Victor had chosen it. The underground room remained beneath the east wing. Olivia woke in complete darkness. Her hands were tied behind a wooden chair. Water dripped somewhere nearby. The air smelled of damp stone and old earth. A light appeared. Dr. Vale descended the narrow stairs carrying a lantern. Victor Marcelli followed him. Victor was an elegant man in a gray coat. He looked more like a banker than a mafia boss. That was why people underestimated him. Olivia did not. Where is Damian? She asked. Victor smiled. Coming for you. Vale placed the lantern on a metal table. You could have avoided this. Olivia. By allowing you to sell patient information. By understanding that men like Damian Russo cannot be healed. Victor walked around her chair. They can only be directed. Olivia looked at the stone walls. This is where his father kept him. Victor's expression showed approval. You understand quickly. Vale removed a syringe from his coat. What is that? A medication that will increase confusion and reduce control. Olivia pulled against the restraints. You will kill him. No, Vale said. We will show his family that he is unstable. Once he attacks you in front of witnesses, they will remove him. Victor will take the territory, Olivia said. Vale's smile weakened. Victor looked amused. The doctor believes he will receive a hospital network. Vale turned toward him. That was our agreement. Victor ignored him. The sound of engines reached the house above them. Black vehicles surrounded the estate. Damian had arrived. Victor drew a pistol. The old house shook as gunfire erupted upstairs. Olivia closed her eyes. She imagined Damian entering the dark corridors. She imagined the memories waiting for him. The basement door opened. Damian appeared at the top of the stairs. Blood marked his coat. A pistol rested in his hand. His eyes found Olivia. Everything else disappeared from his face. Are you hurt? No. Victor stepped behind her chair and placed the pistol near her head. Drop the weapon. Damian obeyed. The gun struck the stone floor. Vale moved toward him with the syringe. Olivia understood. Damian, do not let him touch you. Two men came from the darkness behind Damian. They forced him to his knees. Vale pressed the needle into his neck. Damian struck one man hard enough to send him into the wall. The other man wrapped a chain around his arms. The medication entered his bloodstream. Damian's gaze remained fixed on Olivia. "Look at me," she said. Vale stepped in front of him and slapped his face. Damian's eyes changed. The basement disappeared. He was no longer a grown man surrounded by enemies. He was a child beneath the earth. Victor pulled a chain connected to the basement door. The door slammed shut. Damian stopped breathing. "Dark," he whispered. Olivia struggled against the rope. "Damian, listen to me." Vale touched the back of his neck. Damian reacted violently. He threw the doctor across the room. Vale struck the stone floor. Damian tore free from one of the chains and attacked the nearest man. Victor laughed. "There he is." Damian moved through the basement like an animal trapped inside a memory. He could not recognize friend from enemy. Victor pushed Olivia's chair into his path. Damian turned toward her. His hands were covered in blood. Olivia saw no recognition in his eyes. Victor aimed the pistol toward Damian's back. Olivia forced the chair sideways. The shot struck the floor. Damian grabbed the chair. Olivia looked directly at him. "You are not underground." His grip tightened. "You are in the old Russo house. You came here for me." His breathing was broken. She continued. "There are black vehicles outside. Carlo is upstairs. The door is closed, but it is not locked." Damian looked toward the basement door. Victor raised the gun again. Olivia kicked the lantern from the table. Darkness swallowed the room. Gunfire exploded. Damian roared. Then Olivia felt hands on the ropes behind her. The restraints loosened. Damian had found her in the darkness. He pulled her from the chair. She turned and placed both hands against his face. "May I hold you?" His body shook violently. Olivia repeated the question. "May I hold you?" "Yes." The word barely existed. She wrapped her arms around him. Damian collapsed against her. Victor moved somewhere in the darkness. Olivia heard the pistol being raised. Damian heard it too. He turned, shielding her with his body as the shot fired. The bullet entered his shoulder. He did not release her. Carlo broke through the basement door with 2 guards. Light flooded the room. Victor aimed again. Olivia saw Damian's pistol on the floor. She reached for it. Victor fired toward Carlo. Olivia raised the weapon with both hands. "Stop." Victor turned toward her. He smiled. "You are a nurse." "Yes. You save lives." Olivia kept the weapon steady. Damian stood behind her, injured and disoriented. Victor lifted his pistol. Olivia fired once. The bullet struck Victor's arm. His weapon fell. Carlo crossed the room and forced him to the ground. Vale tried to crawl toward the stairs. Damian caught his coat. The doctor looked up in terror. Damian raised his hand. Olivia touched his shoulder. He stopped. The room became silent. Vala stared at her. Damian looked back. She was not asking him to forgive. She was reminding him that he still had a choice. Damian released Vale. "Carlo," he said, "take them alive." Victor laughed from the floor. "Your father would be ashamed of you." Damian looked around the underground room. The walls seemed smaller now. "You are correct." Victor's smile disappeared. Damian took Olivia's hand. "That is how I know I am finally free of him." The old Russo estate burned before sunrise. Damian stood near the black vehicles while flames consumed the east wing. Fire entered the underground room and erased the chains, the door, and the stone walls that had controlled him for most of his life. Olivia stood beside him. His shoulder had been bandaged. He had refused the hospital until Carlo confirmed that Vale was under guard. Damian watched the roof collapse. "I should have destroyed it years ago. You were not ready. I am now." Olivia looked at him. "You trusted me in the basement. I nearly hurt you." But you did not. I could not see you. You still found me. Damian turned toward her. Why did you come back? I did not. I was kidnapped. The corner of his mouth moved. Olivia smiled despite herself. Then her expression became serious. I stayed because you opened the door. His gaze searched her face. I do not know how to love someone without protecting them. You can protect me. He became still. You cannot decide that protection means control. I will fail sometimes. Then listen when I tell you. I will become jealous. I know. I will want guards outside every door. You may ask. You will say no. Often, Damian looked toward the burning house. And you will remain. Olivia stepped closer. As long as remaining is still my choice. He lifted one hand toward her face. Then stopped. May I? She leaned into his palm. Yes. 6 months later, St. Catherine Medical Center opened a private trauma unit for survivors of childhood confinement and violence. The hospital board removed Marcus Vail before his trial. His financial records revealed years of payments from criminal organizations. Elias Grant became director of the new trauma program. Damian funded the unit anonymously. Olivia knew because nobody else would have demanded that every treatment room have wide windows and doors that could never lock from the outside. She returned to emergency nursing. She also continued working with Damian, not as his private nurse. As the woman he loved, their relationship was never easy. Damian still woke from nightmares. Olivia still found guards where she had not approved them. Each time, he removed them. He continued to rule the Russo empire. He remained feared. Men still lowered their voices when he entered a room. His enemies still disappeared from positions of power. Though fewer of them disappeared from the earth, Olivia did not make him harmless. She made him deliberate. One winter evening, St. Catherine held a gala for the new trauma unit. Doctors, politicians, and wealthy donors filled the ballroom. Olivia stood near the stage in a dark green dress. Its soft fabric followed her curves, and her brown hair fell loosely around her shoulders. She noticed people turning toward the entrance. Damian had arrived. He wore a black suit and no tie. Carlo and 2 guards remained behind him. The crowd moved aside without being asked. Damian crossed the ballroom toward Olivia. Celeste Russo stood near one of the tables. She had testified against the remaining members of the family who helped conceal the abuse. She and Damian were not reconciled. Perhaps they never would be. However, she lowered her head when he passed. A photographer moved closer to Damian. His hand brushed against Damian's arm without warning. The ballroom froze. Damian's body became rigid. His eyes changed. For 1 second, Olivia saw the old violence rising. She did not rush toward him. She waited. Damian stepped away from the photographer. Do not touch me without permission, he said. The photographer apologized and retreated. Damian continued walking. The room slowly began breathing again. He stopped before Olivia. You handled that well, she said. I wanted to break his wrist, but you did not. I am still considering it. Olivia raised an eyebrow. Damian looked toward Carlo. Carlo shook his head. Noted, Damian said. Music began near the stage. Couples moved onto the dance floor. Damian held out his hand. May I? Olivia placed her fingers in his. You may. They danced beneath the warm lights while the city glittered beyond the windows. Damian held her carefully. Not because he feared her touch, because he valued it. Later that night, they returned to the coastal estate. The medical wing had been changed into a library. The door to Damian's bedroom remained open. Olivia found him standing near the window, looking toward the dark ocean. She entered and sat on the edge of the bed. Damian turned. He looked tired. Come here, she said. He approached but stopped before touching her. Olivia held out her arms. Damian lowered himself beside her. She wrapped both arms around him. His head rested against her chest, exactly as it had during the first night in the hospital. The difference was that he was fully awake now. His breathing remained calm. "I used to believe I needed you because you could touch me," he said. Olivia ran her fingers gently through his hair. "What do you believe now?" "I believe I learned to accept touch because I needed you." That sounds dangerously close to romance. It is worse. What is worse than romance? Devotion. Olivia smiled. Damian lifted his head. His eyes held none of the panic she had seen in the hospital. Only love. "May I stay here tonight?" he asked. "It is your bedroom." That was not my question. Olivia understood. The most powerful man in Boston was still asking for permission. Not because he was weak. Because he had finally learned that love without choice was only another locked room. She touched his face. "Stay. Outside." Waves struck the cliffs beneath the estate. Black vehicles waited beyond the gates. Armed men guarded the darkness. Enemies still whispered the name Damian Russo with fear. However, inside the quiet bedroom, the Mafia Boss closed his eyes in the arms of the only woman who had ever seen his violence, his shame, and his scars. Then remained, because he had given her the freedom to leave. For the first time in 12 years, Damian slept through the night, and Olivia held him until morning.